What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin, and I'm going to continue where I left off with part 2 of our Q&A, your Ask Me Anything, where you guys ask me questions, and I will answer the questions to the best of my ability, and with as much fluency, accuracy, and honesty as I can. So let's just continue where we left off. And of course, if you're watching part 2 and you haven't watched part 1, you're the kind of person that comes in mid-season in a show and doesn't watch any of the first few episodes, aren't you? 333 Wheeler, should Shadow of the Hierophant by Steve Hackett, should it have made it onto the Genesis Foxtrot album? I could not tell you because I haven't heard Shadow of the Hierophant, so I don't know. Steve O'Brien, I won't mention 50 different recommended artists, but how does one get a viewer's choice recommendation in? And as Murad says down below, repetition if I'm not mistaken, pretty much. Listen, you gotta catch me on a day when I'm like really looking in the comments, which is a lot, but you know, when I'm specifically looking in the comments for recommendations, repetition definitely helps. Make it stand out. Make me want to listen to it. Inspire me to listen to it. Entice me. WHU 1001, who I just assume is pronounced who, you mentioned going out on bike rides. Are you a serious roadie or an off-roader, or do you just pop down to the shops? I guess I'm probably closer to the pop down to the shops kind of biker. I just like to casually ride my bike. I do definitely do it for exercise, but I like to be more of a casual rider, more so than like a serious roadie or go off-roading. Melvin Womack, when are you going to review The Crystal by Lake Emerson and Palmer, the name of which I just butchered, so don't come at me for that. I don't know. I couldn't give you an answer just yet. Mr. Normus, whose name hilarious. Have you seen my pet anteater? I can't find him anywhere. Have you checked your ant farm? Or, hey, maybe the anteater is at your aunt's house. Robert Wells asks, looking at the progressive rock movement of the 70s and what you have heard to this point, what is your general opinion so far? The 70s seem like the blossom of creativity, specifically in the progressive rock scene, but like they just seem like a blossoming and a flowering point of music. And the 80s used to be my favorite decade of music. I gotta say that I've probably shifted that now to the 70s. You can probably tell by the channel, I wouldn't have gone so far down in a progressive rabbit hole if I didn't enjoy the music. So hopefully the channel is a reflection of my feelings on the genre. Mario Sozi. So my favorite reaction of yours was Awakened by Yes, because of how you react to the words, the moments. Ooh, that was a good song. That was a great moment. In the song, the organ. Would you ever consider going down the classical rabbit hole? I'm open to classical music. I really don't know anything about it. And I feel like the reactions would be boring in the sense of I wouldn't really know what to say after talking about it. I'm open for it. I just don't know. RTW Bike Rider says, have you considered applying for an on-air position with a local radio station down there in Florida, weekend or overnight DJ? Listen, radio is my dream job. Like, actually, my dream job. I would love to be on radio. Now, would I ever apply for an on-air position at our station? I don't know. I don't know if I have... I don't know. I don't know. I guess you can't achieve your dreams without like trying, right? Edmund A. Young, time to get into the next Bowie classic album. Justin, are you thinking about it? If so, which one? To be honest, I know that I haven't done any Bowie recently, but I do always have him in my mind. I was just listening to Station a few days ago. I always have Bowie on my mind. I really have no idea where I'm gonna go next. I'm kind of debating between like finishing Diamond Dogs or perhaps taking a little sample of each of the albums and kind of seeing where I go from there, just to get an overview of his albums and his discography, because it's a lot. I don't know yet, but Bowie's on the mind though. David Quenkelin, I'm French. Do you know the origin of your viewers? I guess yes. What proportion? Well, let me answer that for you, David. Looking at the percentages over here, looks like it's mostly United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Germany, France, Netherlands, Australia, and it goes from there. Flashaholic, do you ever think you'll give Archive another try? Absolutely, there's always a shot. That's what I say to every request. There's always a chance. Which of the early prog bands is, in your opinion, the best? We need this info. It is very important. Jasper, if I had to choose one, my favorite, or the best, whatever that may be. Can I just choose yes? Jim Ralston, would you ever consider a review of a Buckethead composition? Perhaps Soothsayer or Jordan? I would absolutely consider a review of a Buckethead song. Rinky Dink, do you have any hobbies or interests outside of music? Playing video games, listening to music, riding my bike, listening to music. David Oliveris, if you could go back in time, what bands, 1, 2, and 3, would you see? And is David Sanchez' transformation, I see you sneaking in a request there, ever going to happen? Yes, it is going to happen because it's in the editing room, so to speak. And which bands, 1, 2, and 3 would I see? Yes. Genesis, definitely. I would like to see the Police. I know it's kind of a random one, but I would like to see the Police. Jim Bricker, how is Manny? Manny's doing good. I just spoke to him a few days ago, taking care of the wife, the kids, the business is booming. It's just adult life. It doesn't always work out where we can record. Cleve Crudgington, what were some of your favorite bands, artists, genres before you started your musical journey on YouTube? I've gone through my own personal journeys with music and artists and bands and stuff like that. The genres, I guess my genres were like nu metal, trip hop, turntablism, so like DJ Shadow and DJ Crush. Those were like, I guess, the main things, but then I expanded out from that into jazz and soul. There was a big progressive metal period with Dream Theater and Symphony X and bands like that. Then there was a big deathcore period with bands like, I don't know, Emer and Acacia Strain and All Shall Perish. So I would say that's like the main journey, but there's been so many branches outside of that journey that, you know, that would be hard to pigeonhole my interest before the channel. And favorite bands or artists, before I started this, I guess besides what I've mentioned, and some of these are still favorite artists. I still like Symphony X, I still like Deftones, Massive Attack, Portishead, Tyler the Creator, MF Doom, who sadly passed away recently. 090NJ, what inspired you to start making YouTube videos? So, unbeknownst to, I guess, a lot of people, I've been making YouTube videos for a long time before doing this channel, even though I was trying to focus on gaming at the time. And I have seen Lost in Vegas doing their reaction videos, and I said, you know what? I think they got something, and I would kind of like to do something like that. Justina Just says, what makes you happy? Reading your comments, listening to good music, being around friends, like just that. Riding a bike, taking a walk in the woods, that's my jam. Eating funnel cake, that's a good time. Balloons? Who doesn't like balloons? Joe Maroney, yes, I have several questions. Who put the bomb in the bump, bop, bump, bump? Who put the ram in the Ramalama Ding Dong? Who put the bop in the bop, shoo bop, shoo bop? This is a reference to a song, Who Put the Bump? I guess it was Barry Mann that put the bump in the romp. Lightmain, when someone makes a request that you're willing to consider, what is the approximate average time it'll take before you actually react to it? I'm going to guess around 6 months. So it kind of depends on when you catch me, or when I catch the comments. More than likely, to be honest, I mean, there are actually hundreds of requests that I get a day. Not only just comments, but emails and DMs on Twitter. Like, I get a lot. And then I got albums that I try to go through, and I can only do one video a day at this point, so it's hard to kind of, you know, space them all out and try and make them equal. But I would honestly say that the average time is probably 1 to 3 months, more or less. It could be. GNPAHDC, what are some of your favorite jazz albums of all time and why? So jazz albums: Blue Train by John Coltrane, Full House by Wes Montgomery. I'm not going to say Kind of Blue by Miles Davis, because even though it's a historical album, it's not one of my favorites. If I can come just a little bit outside of the jazz realm, George Benson, Give Me the Night, even though I know that's more soul, but hey, hear me out. Keiko Matsui, I really like. Piano, even though that's closer to new age and not really jazzy, but I'm just saying. And my favorite jazz musicians, love Wes Montgomery. I'm actually getting a little bit into Brubeck as well. Fantastic musicianship. And yes, Coltrane is just the epitome. I mean, yes, Coltrane. Solstice Henan, what's the last song that made you cry? What song do you put on when you need to pump yourself up? I don't really cry a lot in general, and songs don't really make me cry. But I would say that the closest one was Autumn with Justin Hayward that we listened to on the channel. It was the right song at the right time. So that was like the closest. What song do I put on to pump myself up? At the moment, it's Meshuggah, Demiurge. Have you guys heard that song? Oh man. Wolfheart, are you a Scotch man? I prefer Duck myself. Michael Bachnia, I'm curious, Justin, how many actual record albums do you own? Not CDs or anything else, but records. I own no records, not because I don't necessarily want to, because I would love to have vinyl and a vinyl player and just put it on. I would love to, but I'm also not one to have a lot of stuff. I know that if I start collecting vinyls and that kind of thing, I will have a lot. This room where I do the videos is extremely crowded already. There's not a lot of room in where we live. I would love to collect vinyls, but I don't have any right now, and I don't want any right now because it would just take up a lot of space that we don't have. Antonio Carlos Santa, what do you think about big tech's censorship? Just kidding. Where are you from, country and city? Big tech censorship. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. That's the most neutral answer I'm going to give. I am from the US, Florida, Orlando to be specific. Sean Dworkin, want to start a band? Why not, dude? As long as I can play drums. Rob Gray, which musicians, not singers, have impressed you the most? Let's say a top 5 list. I gotta put Steve Howe on that list, 100%. I would like to put all of ELP on the list as well, but I'll just go with Palmer. No, actually, I'm gonna go with Emerson. He is hugely impressive. Adrian Belew from King Crimson. David Gilmour. Just dripping with emotion, every single string he plays. And Bernard Purdy. Those are my answers. Phil Bell, do you have any plans to expand your reviews from the Anglo-American sphere? Don't get me wrong, I've loved a lot of the music that you've reviewed, but there's a huge world out there with equally good and life-enriching music. I agree with you, Phil. I would love for you guys to recommend me some. Because some of the names that I'm seeing down here in the comments, besides, Coltrane and Davis, I've heard of, but I don't really know anything about them. So I'm definitely open. David Coinchelin, a book, a movie, a video game, a TV show. I'm assuming you mean favorites of some sort. So a book, I like Pillars of the Earth when I read that. Hasn't been a recent time since I've read it, but I remember enjoying it. A movie, Pan's Labyrinth, is my favorite movie. Love it. It's a fairy tale for adults. A video game, Overwatch, because that's what I play. And a TV show, Vikings, because I need to finish the last season. Doc Rock has listed a few questions in here, sneaky with the few questions. Patreon and progressive rock fan here. Phil Collins Genesis or Peter Gabriel Genesis, and why? I gotta be honest, out of what I've heard so far, Peter Gabriel Genesis. Not to say that I haven't enjoyed Phil Collins Genesis, but there's something very exploratory and adventurous and new about Peter Gabriel's Genesis. Favorite progressive rock band you've reacted to, and why? I guess out of all of them, Yes is probably my favorite one that I've reacted to, and they're the one that have currently captured me, even though I'm also pretty captured by ELP. Favorite progressive rock album and song I've reacted to. That's a little bit tougher because they all hit in different ways. I guess album would have to be close to the edge, right? Maybe it's Nursery Crime. I don't know. And song, Awaken. Favorite Beatles album and song, and why? I am so sorry. I am not familiar enough with the Beatles. I know I gotta rectify it, but I don't know anything really about the Beatles. I couldn't even give you a top song because I haven't heard enough of them. What's the best reaction video you've ever done, most proud of, and why? I think that my reaction, for example, to Awaken for that moment in the song from Yes, and The Barbarian from ELP, I think that my face says it all in those videos, and those are the ones that really stick out in my mind and are my favorite ones to even go back every once in a while and watch my reaction to those. Angel GD, why have you never done any Max Webster? Hate Canada? Are you kidding? I'd be up there right now if I could. I haven't done any Max Webster because I don't really remember his name coming up too often. But I do remember seeing his name, so don't count him out yet, but I just haven't really seen a lot of requests for him, so it didn't make an impression on my list or anything like that. But I'm open for him. And I'm definitely open for Canada. Sir Friendzone, with the last question on the list, could you do a comparison of fifth between the original recording and the version on Seconds Out? Which do you prefer? Which would you listen to more? So here's the thing. I may have already heard the version from Seconds Out. I'm not 100% sure because, like I always say, I do the studio recordings here and then I just go off and listen to live versions and stuff on my own. So I'm pretty sure I've actually already heard the Seconds Out version, but I think I might have only heard it once and a long time ago. So I'd have to listen to it again. I don't really like to do comparisons, more so because I've heard the song, and yes, live songs and stuff can be different and things like that. But for my reaction channel, and I can only do one song generally a day, there's already so many other songs that I want to listen to and that I have to get to and requests that I gotta fill that I don't really like to do live recordings or comparison videos too much unless there's like a special case, like a original versus cover. I won't count it out that I won't ever do any sort of Seconds Out video because it's definitely like in the back of my mind, but I really try to more focus on the studio recordings and the album reviews, which I'm slacking and lacking on right now. Thank you so much for the questions. Thanks so much for being engaged in the Q&A and asking questions. I appreciate that. Like I said in the other video, you're more than welcome to list some other questions if you have any, and maybe we'll do a part 3. I don't know. I was only planning 2, but we'll see what happens. Guys, have a fantastic day. Join me on Twitter. As always, join me in the comments down below. You can support the channel on Patreon, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.